Welcome back. If you've only just joined us, you're watching the Daily Roundup with Nina. Now, Namibia is set to join the global salmon industry through the establishment of a local farming venture championed by a strategic partnership between the Namibia Atlantic Salmon Holdings and the Namibia Industrial Development Agency. While placing the country on the map, the venture is expected to make significant contribution towards Namibia's economic development, sustainability and diversification. As part of efforts to bring various stakeholders together to chart the path for this novel industry, the strategic partnership is hosting a seminar under the theme Unlocking Namibia's Salmon Industry Opportunity to Industrialization. To unpack, to tell us more about this emerging sector in the seminar, we're joined by the acting CEO of NIDA, Phillip Namundjebo, and Christoph Ewers, the executive chairperson of NASH. Gentlemen, good evening and thank you so much for being here.
Good evening, Nina.
We appreciate it. Well, this is really exciting news coming to Namibia, and I think all Namibians will welcome it. So just briefly, perhaps, Christoph, you can introduce, what salmon farming in the Namibian context would really entail.
Salmon farming for Namibia would be a complete new industry. Mm-hmm. It would be an industry with a complete supply chain that we would have to rebuild for Namibia. Mm-hmm. It would consist of offshore salmon farming in the ocean, in our Benguela Current. Mm-hmm. It would consist of our onshore tanks with the most modern Norwegian flow-through systems on land. And it would also entail a onshore farming of hatcheries and nurseries for smolt with freshwater. That's where the young salmon grows. Mm-hmm. We can also say the baby salmon, which will then be brought into the ocean for the grow-out phase.
Yeah. Well, we know salmon farming to be quite popular and competitive, globally, but this would be the first time such an endeavor is attempted in an African country. So what made Namibia such an opportune location for this?
Namibia is ideal for Atlantic salmon farming. For salmon farming, you need the right water. You need the right nutrients in the water, and you need, especially, the right temperature. And the temperatures here in our Benguela Current along the coastline of Namibia is between 6 and 16 degrees Celsius, which is ideal for salmon. And this is why this water is ideal for our venture. Mm-hmm. If you look at the world, you will not find many places in the world where you can do Atlantic salmon farming in big scale. It started in the 70s in Norway. We call it Norwegian salmon. Mm-hmm. But there is nearly as much salmon coming from Chile, Southern America, than it comes from Norway. And the same opportunity is here for Namibia. Mm-hmm. The water is there, the water is right, the coastline is right, and the opportunity for Namibia is right. It aligns with your diversification of your strategy, of your national strategy, and that is why I think Atlantic salmon farming for Namibia is the right time, and Namibia is the right place.
Fantastic. Well, as Christoph just said, Phillip, Namibia's waters provides, excellent condition for Atlantic salmon farming. But talk to us about, the country's, policy and infrastructure readiness for this ambitious mission. Do we have everything, including, skills in place to build an entire salmon farming industry?
Part of our strategy is basically to align ourselves with key players in the sector. One of our mandate, in fact, is the NIDA's mandate is the Central to Industrialization and new investment creation, as well as new sector development. And this project is in line with the new sector development, in line with the national policy, the NDP, the Vision 2030, NDP 6. The idea is that we utilizing their skills to be able to develop the skills development, which in line with the higher learning institutions. Mm-hmm. Part of the program is to be able to develop specialized skills, which will then be embedded into those institutionals. Mm-hmm. When you look at the team behind that, these are the team which have been running the sector for some time. And then we wanted to leverage on that aspect. But not only that, when you look at the infrastructure, part of the whole development, because this project will be implemented through phasing kind of arrangement, where you then set up your whole program, and then it's integrated project which will cover all the aspects from the skills, from the infrastructure, as well as the logistic development. Is basically an integrated project which will then allow to address some of those issues you raised.
I want to further just, zone in into the economic diversification, because when we talk about projects such as this, of course, it's very exciting, but Namibians want to know what's the benefit, not only to the average Namibian, but to the country as whole. So let's talk about, the direct and indirect benefication to the country. Phillip, let's start with you.
Part of our mandate is basically to stimulate the economic development through job creation. And at the same time, you look at other benefit by looking at the spin-off, expansion of the port, for example. When you look at the target tonnage, you're looking at around 51,000 tons. And that 51,000 tons requires the NAMPO to be able to expand their capacity. And not only the capacity of the airport, but the other supportive logistic. And that's why the whole project is not one-man show. It has to cover all the aspects. And then the idea of tomorrow's seminar is basically to look at all those aspects and then also to incentivize our Namibians, at the same time also the regulators. NAMPOD is also part of the invitees. They've been invited to be part and parcel. My colleagues has been also already on the ground to be able to ensure that not only economic diversifications, you're looking at the export earnings, you look at positioning Namibia as one of the salmon development sector. When you look at the name, it talks about Namibia Atlantic Salmon Holdings. The idea is to position Namibian salmon. In fact, we have to convince BIPA that name has to stay, because why? We made to understand that the salmon sector in Norway is the second largest after the oil. A lot of Namibians are very excited about the oil, but we are saying there's another sector which we can then focus on. So looking at the spin-off of the salmon sector, in fact, it will be more in terms of the job creation, in terms of the skill transfer, in terms of the value chain creation. Apart from that, not only the production, we are looking at the feed.
Yes.
And then when you look at the feed, to feed 51,000 tons, it requires some significant value chain creation. And I think in terms of the value chain, it's more than that. It's a multifaceted kind of a project.
Christoph, would you like to add on to that?
Thank you, Phillip. Yes, I can add to that. If at the moment we speak about a license of 51,000 tons, just to give you an idea, 51,000 tons in the end will mean more or less 5,000 new jobs. I'm saying new jobs because what we want to do is not in competition with anything, is not in competition with existing fisheries. It is complementing it. It is a complete new industry separated from the current industries, additional value chain, maintenance, logistics, processing. 51,000 tons of salmon requires a lot of processing, a lot of packing. It will require a lot of transport. At the beginning, we believe that about 8,000 tons will be consumed in Southern Africa. So that will also make salmon more attractive for Southern Africa because there will be much less transport cost. 30% of the cost is flight cost. So that will make it attractive for Namibians and other Southern Africans.
Yeah, because it is quite pricey right now.
Yeah.
Well, the magnitude and scale of what we're discussing here clearly shows that this is going to require quite a hefty investment. So, Christoph, perhaps you can talk to us about the kind of fiscal investment that's going into the salmon farm.
Everything that we will do will be a heavy capital investment. It will be a long-term capital investment. To give you some numbers, it will be done in phases, like Phillip explained, in phases in different projects, but it will, if we reach the full license of 51,000 tons, it will go towards the $3 billion.
We spoke about the value chain, of course, just earlier, but I want to know where in the value chain will the most investment be needed, Phillip?
Yeah, in terms of value chain creation, we're looking at the packaging of the products, the type of from the products to the feed, to the production of the fish, the small fish. Our plan is basically to use nectar dam, where we'll be able to produce those the hatcheries. And in fact, we are not even talking about the land which has been already earmarked by the Minister of Agriculture. They talk about 5,000 hectares. We are basically looking at a separate area where you then have to be able to, if you look at, in terms of value chain creation, you look at what is happening already from the nectar dam. We will need less in terms of the feed to be able to feed the fish. Not only the fish will be able even to create other industries along that, because like if you talk about hydroponic, aquaponics, you should be able to use some of those. What then happen, we will be able to create other spin-off industry along that line. But also when you look at the value chain creation, we want to go beyond the normal fish you see. And that's why the project is being implemented into phases. But also, when you look at the other aspect, is that some fishing company, we are seeing that they are retrenching. We want to utilize some of their facilities, those packaging. And then at the same time, you'll be able to produce those packaging within Namibia, so that then you create like an integrated kind of value chain along the sector. It's a new sector which we believe we should be able to promote and ensure that. And then in addition to that, we're talking about private sector-led investment. From NIDA's angle, we have adopted what we call a private sector-led investment. Instead of using the treasurer to be able to fund a project like that, we are using private sector. That's why this facility, that seminar is to ensure that you expose the Namibians to those areas. You ensure that you have institutional and the private sector who have got the financial capacity to be able to invest in a venture like that. So value chain, including the local content in terms of even using the private sector to be able to use the money. Namibians like to talk about, we have a lot of access capital. We want to see that capital being sweating by investing in such a venture.
I'm glad that you mentioned the investment aspect, because I think when we think of projects of this size and the scale, when the word investment comes up, we think of foreign investment. But in terms of localizing it, such as the opportunities that exist for banks and perhaps governments, what are those, Christoph?
I think it's very important that the investment is a mixture of local investment and also foreign expertise. But the majority of the investment should come from Namibia. It should be a Namibian project. It's for Namibia, for Namibians. And it's very important also to control it from a Namibian perspective. It's the natural resources of Namibia that will be utilized, the water, the resources of the people, the talents that you have in Namibia. And I think it must be a Namibian project. So there will be opportunities for government, for private investors, also for foreign investors, for banks in Namibia to participate in this.
Fantastic. Well, of course, as I mentioned earlier in our conversation, it's a partnership between NIDA and NASH. So talk to us about what exactly that partnership will entail. Christoph, from your perspective first.
We are very thankful for this partnership. First of all, thank you very much to NIDA, Phillip and Namibia. It's very important for us that we have an interest of an institution in Namibia that has the task to increase the industrial capacity of the country. So there is the drive. It's not only about money, it's about the drive, the political will, the direction, and the task and the mandate. And that's why it's so important that NIDA is part of this project. At the end of the day, we will find alternative investors, additional investors. We'll find all of a sudden big salmon farmers from other places in the world that would like to invest in Namibia. But at the beginning, we should start with Namibia and Namibian money and our Norwegian money to start this off. And the support from NIDA is crucial just because of the mandate and the will and the execution.
Thank you. Phillip, you'd like to add on to that from your perspective?
From NIDA's angle, it's basically a commitment of government through this type of arrangement in order to show basically the national alignment. You talk about the institutional oversight and then the value creation. And in addition, also some people were a bit trying to indicate that why road rates. Even the oil has nothing. Basically, what we're trying to do is a diversification of the economy, and then we ensure that that project has no negative impact on the oil.
Right.
It will be basically, when you look at it, it's an exciting time, and then we want to ensure that next time when we have such an interview, we have someone on the table.
That would be lovely. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
Well, of course, we also mentioned that there's a seminar taking place tomorrow. Just give us a brief overview of that, Christoph.
It's very important that we bring all stakeholders together from Namibia, from Europe, from other places in the world to align and to have confidence in each other. We have investors, we have government, we have stakeholders that want to invest in the future. We have suppliers, very important for us. We work with the most modern technology. Our partners, mainly from Norway, bring their technology and their skills to Namibia. We need to align, we need to create confidence amongst everybody. We need to bring people together in order to be successful with our big task.
Yeah. Well, final remarks from you?
Yeah, from my side is just to indicate that industrialization is not a one institution.
Yeah.
It requires all the key stakeholders. We need the regulatory, the players in the regulatory environment. We want Namibians, individual and institutional. We want basically even the commercial banks to be able to take advantage of this opportunity. And these are the opportunity which never returns. And we believe that it's an opportunity for Namibians to be able to show up tomorrow and being able to. These are a key strategic partner, which with a reputation, and that's why it's better for them to come and listen tomorrow in order to some sort of like signing deals. That's what we want to see. Yeah.
Mr. Phillip Namundjebo, Mr. Christoph Ewers, thank you so much for your time this evening and being here with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Nina.
Thank you. Well, there you have it. We're going to take a very brief break and our conversations will continue. Stay with us.